power of OneDrive. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this and talk about how you can take advantage of communication sites to build your knowledge base. So friends, what we're going to do in the next hour is really go through this agenda. First and foremost, talk about why you need a knowledge base. So we'll talk about an anatomy of a good knowledge base, and certainly I'll give you a quick intro as to what communication sites are all about and why it's great to be a knowledge base. And then I'll walk you through the 5 steps on how you think about building your knowledge base. I'll show you a lot of the different demos, so certainly we'll build a knowledge base using communication sites, but also I'll show you how you can connect it with other components, things like Microsoft Forms, Flow, Stream for video content as well. And feel free to tweet if you're keen on tweeting. My handle is neatducks, and feel free to use the hashtag SPC18. So, let's get the conversation started here. What's the value of a knowledge base? If you think about knowledge base, really there's 2 ways to think about this. One is the external facing knowledge base. Typically, when you buy let's say a new cell phone, or when you buy a device, you go to, you're having issues with that device, you go to that company website, right? And you look at FAQ, simple things, troubleshooting, what happened. So that's one common knowledge base that we're well aware of and familiar with. Another way to take advantage of knowledge base, especially within our organization, is an internal knowledge base. And that's what we're going to focus on today, because as we all know, Office 365, SharePoint Online communication sites is a fantastic platform to be leveraged internally. Really, in my mind, a knowledge base provides these 3 values. Number 1, it's a self-service library of information. Quick example, so I work for AvePoint. We're a software company. We build technologies to help you migrate, manage, and protect your Office 365 and SharePoint investment. And we're a company of 1,500 people around the world. Now, certainly there's shared services within our organization, from marketing to legal to operations, and they're just common things people need. And I'm sure you've been in a situation where, let's say you're a new employee and you're wondering where do you get the expense reimbursement form, or what kind of PowerPoint template you should use for this type of presentation. So a lot of these common things, it will be efficient and effective if you can centralize it in a one-stop shop so people can help themselves. The second benefit of having a knowledge base is you can have a centralized set of information that you can provide some level of standardization and consistency. You can't be perfect all the time, but at the very least, if you have the latest logos and latest templates, latest questions, you can centralize it in one place. And that's where your knowledge base is all about. Now, why do you want to use communication sites? So let me kind of step back and give you a quick overview of what's available in SharePoint Online. So as most of us know, and you saw in the keynote yesterday, SharePoint is essentially the content services platform for Office 365. Now, what does that mean? You can store pretty much any kind of content, be it files, news, a place where people or teams collaborate and work together in. So you can put a lot of stuff in. And as you take advantage of SharePoint Online, out of the box, there are 2 types of site templates you can use. The first type of site template is what's called a team site template. A team site template is really used primarily for collaboration amongst a team. Your department, your project team. That's where you put files and work together, you see people's schedule. So that's what a team site is all about. In fact, team site is used by a lot of the other Office 365 technologies. For example, Office 365 Groups uses team sites. Microsoft Teams uses team sites. So the intent of a team site is so that a group of people will be working together, collaborating, and getting stuff done. The other type of site template is what's called a communication site. The intent of a communication site is not to be used for collaboration. Communication sites are intended to address broad audiences across the organization, pretty much broadcasts or referential information. Y'all with me? Yeah. Push out information perfect resource to be used as a knowledge base. And the other benefit of a communication site is very easy to create. It's visually appealing. You'll see in a second. Microsoft invested a lot of resources so that you don't have to rely on IT to make your SharePoint site not look like SharePoint and make it pretty. That's not correct. I don't like how it does. Make it not look like SharePoint. With communication sites, those types of complaints would be minimized. Lastly, and this is very important, unlike Teams sites, when you create a communication site, an Office 365 group is not created. So if you don't understand this, you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll share resources around the basics of Office 365 group. I've done sessions on this. There are sessions here around that. I'll be happy to talk to you after, but this is a very important point, right? And it's good because, again, the intent of a communication site is not for team-based collaboration. So, okay, docs, how do I take advantage of this? I mean, in your experience, how should I be using communication sites? So let me show you a quick example before I jump into the 5 steps and kind of share my world on how I use this, right? So just to give you a background, so this is our Office 365 tenant, and this is our internal site. We have a site internally called GTM Central. So GTM stands for go-to-market. So as you may imagine, as a company, we have standard resources that our colleagues would need. Things like PowerPoint logos, letterheads, so I can click on this. Let me kind of bring this up to you, and I'll walk you through how to build something like this. Business card, document templates, what have you. We have another section here called playbooks, guideline, policies, case study, corporate information. Again, it's a one-stop shop for a knowledge base. What else? Let me kind of show you a couple other things. We have a news section here where FAQs are posted on a regular basis. We have a calendar of upcoming events that we have. And also we have a mechanism for people to engage and have social conversations. And that's certainly powered by Yammer. Now we also recognize that there may be things that people need within the company and it's not there. So we provide a feedback mechanism as well through Microsoft Forms, and I'll walk you through how to do this, on how to take advantage of this. Now the other thing I want to show you is the beauty of this technology. It's mobile ready. So let me pull up my phone here because I want to show you how useful this thing is. So not only is it accessible from my computer, PC, Mac, but within any device through the SharePoint app, I've logged in, so it pulls up, and I didn't have to do anything. It's already built in, so it's very responsive, mobile ready. I can go through all the different sections, just like what I've shown you. I can go to this section, pitch decks, whatnot, and then certainly since this is a library where all the PowerPoint files are and whatnot, it fires up automatically the OneDrive app. It's still loading, that's why it says folder is empty. But it fires up the OneDrive app to show all the different files. So here are all the files and templates and what have you. What do you guys think? Very cool, right? And I guarantee you, as you walk out of here, you'll be so excited, you're going to skip lunch, you're going to start building your communication site. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me shut down this phone in a second. All right, so how do we do all this, docs? This is really cool. I'm excited. So here's the 5 steps we're going to walk through. First and foremost, step 1. To build your FAQ knowledge base, friends, you got to define your success criteria, right? Now, we got to step back. The technology piece to me is the easiest part. You got to step back and consider, why do you need a knowledge base? I mean, some simple business reasons. Well, number 1, docs, we can lower the cost of internal support, meaning people can make use of their time wisely, they can go to one place and look at updated information. By having a knowledge base, we can have higher resolution rates, meaning instead of people bugging IT all the time, asking help from IT, for example, they can go to a knowledge base to look up common FAQs or questions that they can help themselves with. And then we can have a better consistent service through our internal customers and constituents. So what are some example use cases of knowledge bases? One, IT, for example. With IT, you can simplify everything from troubleshooting to training, onboarding, and just general how-to questions. Another example is HR. Great for everything from training, onboarding, to policies, benefits, payrolls. Marketing is an example I'm going to walk through with you. I can go on and on. Legal, right? So here's something very important that you want to consider. So think about this. Because of Office 365, the world of SharePoint and the concept around SharePoint has drastically changed. What are you talking about, Gus? Today, for example, when I think about collaboration within my team or when I work on a project, the first thing that comes to mind, I don't think about SharePoint anymore. I create Microsoft Teams. Y'all with me? So as you think about your intranets, right, it's a different world. You know, back in the days, who's been a SharePoint veteran here? Back in 2000? You know, back in the days, oh, I need to create my IA, I have a portal, I have my team sites, I have my HR external sites. Y'all with me? The whole team site concept, frankly, is gone. You're going to use Teams for that. SharePoint's still part of it, but Teams takes that place. The idea of communication sites is you can provide a customer-facing site for HR, for legal, for marketing, for IT, so that you can serve your internal customers. So if they need stuff about IT, they need stuff about HR, they can go to this communication site or this knowledge. And then lastly, Gus, how do you pull all these things together then? I mean, when I go to my intranet, that home page, that portal page, what would that be? That's where hub sites come in. Everybody with me? All right. So that's step one. Define the success criteria and define your use case. Number two, establish your framework for your knowledge base. Now, what do I mean by establishing framework? Step one, what's the need? You know, the last thing you want is you create it for creating's sake because it's cool. No, there's a need. Again, centralized resource for new employees, centralized resource for marketing assets. Number two, start building it, which we will, and I'll show you in a second. Three, who is this targeted to? In most cases, an internal knowledge base will be targeted to a broad audience, at least in my example, well, companies. If you're in a large organization and you want to target it to a specific business division, right? You can limit it to that business division, and thanks to Office 365 and SharePoint, you can do things like audience targeting and whatnot. Next, number four, and this is important, what's your knowledge management strategy? When we talk about knowledge management, it's not the same thing as the knowledge base. The knowledge base is your repository. Knowledge management is your strategy on how you manage this knowledge, who's responsible, how often is it updated and whatnot. As you know, this is not a one-time deal. This has to be cared for and continuously updated. Who's responsible, right? Organization. What about these articles and content, which we'll look at later? Who's supposed to put it in? And what types of content do you put in? Is it just text? Do you put videos? Do you put diagrams? How often do you update it? And last but not the least, how do you get engagement? Is it working? Is it not working? What kind of feedback do you need? So think about your framework, and this is just a sample framework that you can certainly take advantage of. Now, step three, right? Okay, guys, my project is I want to create a knowledge base around our marketing asset, around our IT resources. I have a framework already. I figured out who's going to be part of this, how we're going to manage this. Okay, now let's talk about what components you need. What do you mean by components, Docs? Well, certainly you will need your site, which is your knowledge base. But within the site, what elements, what site content or capability or list or library do you need to fulfill the knowledge base capability? Certainly you will need a document library, which I'll walk you through in a second. You're going to stick tons of documents there. We use a lot of document libraries. You may need a blog, right? How is a blog different than a news, Doc? So I'll show you a use case in a second. To me, the way I think about news, that's where you put your FAQ, right? Your FAQ KB articles in some, in some cases. What about videos? Videos is becoming an integral part of content today, and certainly through Microsoft Stream, you're able to do this easily. And last but not the least, how do you drive engagement? And you can do this with social conversations through Yammer. How do you get feedback? You can use Microsoft Forms for this. How's everything so far? Useful? Yes, sir.
I just want to say that that text up there, that annoys me. I don't know if I'm alone.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Am I alone?
All right. It's all good. How's that? That works? All right. Thank you.
It's funny.
I get clap to be annoying. All right. So with that. By the way, the recording itself, you can turn on the subtitle as well. All right? Now, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so how do we share relevant information, right? What are the components? So these are some of the core components of your knowledge base. Now, from a communication side perspective, I'll walk you through it in detail. What I highly encourage, and Microsoft has invested a lot on this, is you want to maximize out-of-the-box tools. You know, back in the days where you have to custom design your SharePoint site and make it not look like SharePoint, please don't think that way anymore, because there's so much you can do today, from a design template that comes out of the box to how you want to lay out pages and web parts you can add to it. And in fact, later I'll show you can add non-Microsoft web parts as well. And this is quite evident in the investments Microsoft has been making in Microsoft Teams, where you can put connectors from other technologies, and those are starting to light up in SharePoint Online as well. So, we said step 1, define success criteria. What's the purpose? Step 2, establish framework. Step 3, identify relevant components. Step 4, let's start building it. Okay? So, let me go ahead and walk you through this whole process here. So the first thing you do to start building it, let me fire up my Office 365 tenant, right? To start building your knowledge base using communication site, you got to create the site and update the site content, right? So who can create communication site? Certainly any Office 365 user can create this. So the way they do this is they go to their Office 365 tenant, they click on SharePoint, and as SharePoint comes up, notice I'm already a part of a bunch of different SharePoint sites. I see these different cards around news and frequent, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to click this button called Create Site. As I've described earlier, friends, there are 2 types of sites you can create. Team site, intended for collaboration, and keep in mind, once you create a team site, along with it, it would create an Office 365 group, and all the other components of Office 365 group will come with. Now, if I want to create an informational site where I want to broadcast information, I can use a communication site. So when I pick communication site, there are 2 types of design available, and you can create your own. In the interest of time, I'll just pick one of these. Topic for me is appropriate for knowledge base, and I'll tweak it a bit in a second. And then the showcase site looks more like a newsletter. So a showcase site are things that typically HR would use for like a newsletter type of site. Y'all with me? Yeah. Forgive my heavy southern accent. Here and there I'd say you all. I'm from the deep south, Manila, Philippines. So I'm going to pick topic design. So I'm going to call this site the marketing resource site, or marketing resource knowledge base, whatever you want to call it, right? You can give it a little description, and I'm just going to hit finish. So as you can see, it creates a new site collection. There's the URL, and it's creating the site. So as the site gets created, that's step one. Create your site and update your site, right? So what does it take to update the site? To me, it's really two things. Number one, I want to get rid of things that I don't need. Because at this time, right, I've identified the different components that I need already. I need a library, I need a news section, I need a request form, I need some social conversation, I need a place where I can stick videos and whatnot. So I kind of know what I want, and there may be things here that I don't really need. So for example, I go to site content, it shows you all the out-of-the-box things that are here. So, these are all fine. There's an event calendar I may or may not use. I'll leave it alone. In addition, the big chunk of the work, right, would require me to edit my homepage. So let me kind of map this out here. So I have a document library, which is good. I need that. What else do I have? I have a little news section. Okay, I'll need that. I'll fix the event. I don't really need it for now. Document library. Okay, cool. All right, so let's start cleaning this up. So as you can see on every page, there's a edit button. So as soon as I edit the button, or I click the edit button, it goes in the edit mode. So there's a couple of things I could do. So first, I want to clean the layout. I want to update the layout, right? So I can select. By the way, this whole thing here is a web part. So I can click here and edit the web part. And notice the hero web part. This whole thing's called hero web part. The edit property shows up and provides me the different layout options. I could do it in tiles or layers. And again, it's very visually appealing, right? So you can do it in layers. I just want to do it in tiles. In fact, in my mind, I need 4 tiles. Okay? And this is really powerful because, as you know, especially end users, and especially when you see it on the phone, each tile would represent a specific component of the knowledge base. A tile could be the document. Another tile could be a request form, what have you. Y'all follow me? Okay. So I'm going to do 4 tiles. So that's cool. I've edited that. So I'm not going to touch this. By the way, you can change picture. So this next one, right, I'm going to edit this tile. And notice that it's by default a link. You have a couple options here. It could just be a static image, or it could be an image with a link, right? So what I want to do, just to kind of quickly do this, I want to link one tile to my document library. So let me go to the document library. Let me capture the URL. Change the URL. There are default URL. So in fact, it even it gives you a file picker. You can look for a specific link, the site itself. So I'm going to point it to the document library. Right now it's empty, which is fine. And the title here is Marketing Templates. I'll leave it at that. Again, you can update it however you want, options, and then there's that. Okay, so I got marketing templates. I'm going to edit this guy. I'm going to call this latest FAQs. I'm going to change the link. I'm going to point this to my, let's see, not a library. I'm going to point this to the news, to the news list. That's where all my knowledge base FAQ would show up. So, all right, let's see. Let me go to site contents. That'd be easiest. So what I'm doing here, friends, I just have 2 browsers, and I'm just copying the URL and whatnot. So the news link is essentially site pages library. So let's go back to that guy. Let's see. All right. Open and latest FAQs. Close that. And by the way, you can organize this and how this is laid out. Okay. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to create a feedback form as well. Because while I may have all the stuff that's here, there may be some things that users would want or is asking for, is looking for that's not here, right? So to do that, I want to use Microsoft Forms. So I'm going to fire up Forms. Okay. Anybody who's used Microsoft Forms? A couple of people? All right. So Microsoft Forms, if you haven't seen this, it's a very easy to use form builder tool. And so I'll just say marketing resource KB feedback. Okay. And enter a description, put your request, feedback, or feedback here. I'm just going to add a couple of questions, text, title of your feedback, whatever. Required, add another question, text, details of your feedback. That's pretty much it. Long answer required. And that should be good. All right. That's it. So now, and also I can set the permissions, only people within my organization. Y'all see that? So I'm just going to copy the URL. The form's now created. If you guys want to see what that form looks like, it's a simple form. You can make it pretty. You can put the background page if you want, but that should suffice for now. And I'm going to put the URL here from a link. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Request. Feedback or feedback here. I'll just say submit request or feedback here. Awesome. Okay, good. So, one thing I do need to tell you, this is simple enough, but for those not familiar, when you create a form using Microsoft Forms, the data, when somebody fills this out, it actually gets stored in an Excel file. The issue or the challenge with that, it works, don't get me wrong, but it's not automated. And the challenge with that is you still have to go there and look at the file all the time and see when people submit it. Y'all with me? In an ideal scenario, how should this form work? Anybody? Email somebody, right? Email or alert somebody, and where should this thing be stored? SharePoint list, of course, right? So how do we do that, docs? Again, this is the power of Office 365. Uh-oh.
That's the power of 365.
Okay, so now I want to automate this. And let me kind of give you a background of how I work, right? I mentioned earlier already, my day in, day out, when I work with my marketing colleagues, we work in teams. Y'all with me? When you create a team, along with that team, a bunch of other stuff gets created. One of the things that gets created is a SharePoint site. So I have, let me open this. I have a SharePoint team site that's only restricted to my marketing posse, right? So right now there's 3 of us, and only marketing people can go here. All our work is here, all our documents, whatever. Me, Christy, and Megan. So ideally, since we own this knowledge base that we service to the rest of the organization, anybody making a request or providing feedback ideally should come here. Y'all follow me? It could go anywhere, but what I would love is just to come here because this is where we do all the marketing work. So what I've done in the interest of time, I pre-created this list, right? If you don't know how to create a list, it's straightforward. I created a list called knowledge-based feedback, and right now nothing is here. So now we have 2 things going on, friends. I have a form in Microsoft Forms. When somebody fills it out, it just stores it in an Excel file. And then I have a SharePoint list in another site that doesn't really do anything. So what I want to do now is connect these two. When somebody fills it out, it populates this list. And as you know, within the list, what can we do now? We can do whatever we want, right? We can send notifications, we can send alerts, what have you. Y'all with me? Pop quiz. How do I connect these two? Flow. Use Microsoft Flow with it. So let's do that. So let me fire up Microsoft Flow. And in my Microsoft Flow, if you haven't used this, this is an awesome, awesome technology. You can automate a lot of stuff, right? So I'm going to look for form, because there's so much ready-made stuff. Record form responses in SharePoint. That's what I want. So I'm going to click that. Is this what you want? Anybody filling out filling out the form in Microsoft Forms, it's gonna fill in SharePoint. Yes, I have a column here called sender, because Microsoft Form would automatically pick up the email address as well, which I'm gonna map. And then pretty much it's just mapping it and then finish, and voila, then it works. Then I'm gonna turn on the alert, and as soon as I turn on the alert, it would shoot me email every time a request comes in. How's everything so far? Useful? Okay, next. So I'll leave it alone. I'll come back to this. Maybe it's still thinking because I just created the form. Sometimes it takes some time. So what I'm going to do next, so I've updated a couple of things. So I'm going to finish up this updates here. So the other thing I want to do, friends, is I'll leave this alone. Events, I don't really need events. I'm going to hide or get rid of this web part. I don't need this people profile. I'm going to get rid of that. What else? I don't need this quick links. I mean, sometimes you may want to put that in your knowledge base. Let's see, a library. To me, you know, the homepage should look clean, right? I'll get rid of that. I'll leave the news there. And I'm going to turn off this comment. So if you're not familiar with this, every page in a communication site has this commenting capability. But it kind of looks off because this commenting capability doesn't really tie to, you know, Yammer and whatnot. So what I would prefer is to add a Yammer feed here. So what I've done is, let's see, where's Yammer? There you go. So there's a Yammer web part. So I can type a Yammer group. So in Yammer, I'm going to show you, I created a group earlier. I called it Brand Central. You can call it whatever. Because people come here to talk about our brand. I can add that Yammer group so the feed will show up. There you go. I thought it came up. Oh, sorry, Brand Yammer. Okay, my bad. There you go. So I'm going to add that, and then I can even, okay, show top, latest, okay, latest conversation. What's the classic view? I think the classic view would fit better. There you go. Blah, blah, blah. Close that. Cool. So now I have that Yammer feed, and you can call this engage with us here. Whatever, right? You want to call it. And then all that good stuff. All right, let me hit publish, right? So as soon as you hit publish, right, you've got a couple things now. So let me kind of pre-populate some of these. The other thing I want to do is I want to edit the navigation. I don't really want this site content to show up. Pages, I'm going to call it, you know, FAQs, whatever. And then the other thing I want to add is this form, so that from a navigational perspective, friends, let's see, add feedback form. Yeah, feedback. I'll just put feedback. Okay, all right. And then save, right? So now it's pretty straightforward. It's clean. By the way, we'll talk about permissions in a second. I see this button edit because I'm the site owner. For everybody else, they won't see the edit button if they don't have the permission. All right, so now marketing templates. Let me kind of pre-populate some of this stuff here. So I have some templates I've got going on. So I know GDPR is a big thing right now. Anybody dealing with GDPR? Yeah, it's Friday, right? 25th. Make sure you're compliant. Okay, so yeah, I've uploaded stuff, and one of the things as we're uploading this, I'm going to go back to my slide, right? So we kind of did all these things, but one of the things that I want to talk about is if you populate your site with content, is I highly encourage you to simplify site classification or content classification, I should say. So in this example, right, you can do different things with this. You could use term store, use metadata, content types, or even custom columns. So in my world, in my example, let me show you. I'm not sure why this. Okay. Let me show you my our internal knowledge base. So these are all the resources for as a company, right? So from pitch decks to brochures to playbook, even corporate information about AppPoint, all this good stuff. But notice a couple of things, right? So if you look at the custom columns we've set up. Why? Okay, I'll just stand here. I don't know, maybe it's activated by these steps. So if you look at these custom columns, yeah, audience, region, language, all that good stuff, because a couple of things, right? Some of these are internal only resources, so we would tag it accordingly. The other thing with language, for example, we have colleagues from different parts of the world. We have content in Japanese, German, French, and whatnot. So for our colleagues in those regions, they can organize it through these views. And this is where views come in really, really handy. So you can slice and dice it however you want. So you can even look at this in a tiled arrangement, architectural diagram, voila, and it'll do a preview. So this is part of the preview capability of a library in OneDrive. And that's where your classification comes in handy, because you can create views that's meaningful to your organization. And then if you want automation, you can automate workflow. So the request form is an example, right? So that's one simple example of what you can do. And you can even take it further with things like Power Apps. And then most importantly, assign content contributors. So with our GTM Central, we have tons of stuff in here. Different owners are responsible for different sections of our knowledge base. So industry reports, resources, templates, there's key owners, and on a regular basis, they would update this. So now let's go back to our example here, and let me show you. So I've uploaded some PowerPoint and whatnot, and you can continue to upload. Let me go to one FAQ, for example, and let me add a news item here. So this news item, so let's say name your news post. FAQ 1. Listen from Jeff Teeper, right? So maybe as a part of our business, our colleagues need to know who Jeff Teeper is. So within this news page, again, you can add different types of components to it, or different web parts. One of the web part I'm going to add, notice there's a Kindle preview of a Kindle book, kind of cool, Power Apps. I want to embed a stream video. So for those not familiar, Microsoft Stream is part of Office 365. Think of it as like an internal YouTube, right? So let me go to, I'm going to leave this alone for now. Let's see. Let me go to Microsoft Stream, because I did put a couple videos earlier. Stream. And I have a video, actually, that I had the privilege of driving with Jeff in Redmond. I tried to get him to sing, but he didn't want to sing. All right, so I'm going to grab this URL, and let's see. Where's the, oh, here you go. Source, you could do not only a single video, you can put a channel. So a channel concept in Stream is like a playlist, you know, like a YouTube playlist. So what's a video address? You put that video address, and you can even make it start at a certain time. There you go. And then I can add another web part, like a text section, and I can start typing. And you can put rich text as well. You can even put formatting and whatnot, right? So watch this episode of Ducks Quacks with Jeff Cooper. All right, whatever, right? So I'm gonna hit publish. And again, as soon as it's published, it will be displayed in this web part. Now, it may seem like weird because there's really no image, so you can add an image actually. So let me edit this page again. And I can embed an image, and I don't know, find an image here. What image is this? Oh, there you go. Okay, so it's a picture of Jeff Cooper. There you go. Add image. There you go. Publish. And I can even promote this. Either I can add it to the navigation, or I can just blast an email out to the members, whatever, etc. So once it's there, the image should show up as a thumbnail right here. Everybody see that? Yes, question?
Can you use the screenshot from the video instead of
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. If you go to Stream, actually Stream takes screenshot. Let me go to Stream here. You can do a couple of things. Actually, where did that go? Stream actually takes screenshots. I can edit this video. It'll show you the screenshot. You can grab one of those. Or to me, just to make it simple and easy, you're right. I mean, you could just use the sniping tool and cut it and whatever, just to make it relate. But yeah, it's easily embedded. And look, if you think about this, it's nothing new, but you're giving the power to the end user, right? Yeah. Let's see. So the other thing, in case you don't know, with Microsoft Stream, it's using the same technology that I use for subtitle. It automatically creates transcript. I just have to talk to Microsoft about spelling my name right, but it's good enough. And the transcription, actually, you can export it out to a Word document or a text file. Okay, so lastly, let me try one more time because I really want you to see this. If this doesn't work, that's fine. I have a video of this. I'm going to try Microsoft Flow again. Let's see, Flow, leave. Okay, so search template, form. See, hopefully. It's the same tenant. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. This one? Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. This is the same tenant though. I'm using a demo tenant that I have. Let me double and triple check. Let me go to my marketing resource. Oh, you're right. Maybe. I'm pretty sure it's the same tenant. Yeah, it's the same tenant. I guess for some reason Flow is it's not connecting or seeing the tenant right now. Cool. So again, and then you can fill in the content and update it. So to me, this news list is a perfect area for you to use as your FAQ. Lastly, so you create, you update, you put all the site content, site section. You take advantage of different technologies like Flow and SharePoint lists and forms and Stream. And then now you need to share your site to relevant stakeholders. So for me, this is something you have to be careful with because you can easily make a mistake. So the intent of a knowledge base, first and foremost, is you only have a handful of contributors. So later I'll show you this. When you add your stakeholders, you only put, whoever the contributors are. For the rest of the company, you want to add them as site visitors. Essentially, they only have read access because the last thing you want is everybody else in the organization updating these templates or knowledge-based information where they shouldn't be doing. So how do you do this? So let me go back to my home page of my knowledge base, and let me click Share Site. So right now, nobody can get to this but me. I'm the site owner. So, you can add, let's say I want to add Megan. Megan. Yeah. I was thinking of different Megan. So let me give her edit permission. So in case you don't know, the difference with full control and edit, full control, you can add different site components. Edit, you're a contributor. You can put content, but you can't create new sections on this site. So I'm going to add Megan. And then for everybody else in the company, an easy way to do this, instead of typing each person, you can just type everyone. And there's a group called everyone except external users. And read only, and then I'm going to hit share, and then at this point, they will get an email saying, hey, Dux just shared with you this site, which is a knowledge base. Yeah. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So going back to the request form, why wouldn't you just create a custom list in a Power App instead of what you were trying to do?
Very good question. Why don't you just create, you could, absolutely. You can create a custom list with a Power App. In my mind, the easiest way, because form is just more visual and it's straightforward. So yeah, you can use Power Apps and whatnot. Yeah. Other questions? Yes?
How can you set up or kind of categorize the stories to kind of help give users, put them in buckets?
Very good question. So just to clarify, so you're talking about this, right?
Right.
So the only way to do this, so the way this news library works, it's essentially a library and holds pages. So visually, that's right. I really don't know what's going on. Maybe it's AI, right? So the easiest way for me that I would recommend, because I got into this situation too, is you create multiple news libraries. And I would suspect that the categories isn't that too crazy anyway. It's not like you have 20 of these, right? Your categories maybe 5 tops. And then what you could do is you can embed each of the category organized, as separate web parts. Because within the news library itself, right? Notice, check this out. The way it's rendered, while certainly you can organize it, you can create new columns, and you can slice and dice it with views. On the home page, it only sees it as one web part.
If you did have separate categories and separate libraries, could you apply some kind of a branding to associate it with one of those categories?
What do you mean, like in the page itself? Or
Yeah, so that when you're actually looking at this front page there, you see each of the articles.
yeah, so there's multiple ways to do this. So one idea that came to mind, right? Another way you can do this, if you want to apply some branding, you can pick each of this tile as a category. So you can say product FAQ, training FAQ, right? But really the tile itself is only linking to the view. So everything is the same library, but the branding or the visual representation is different within the tile. So you can do it that way. But if you're talking about branding the web part itself, it's you can't really do anything about this.
No, I mean each of the articles displayed.
Yeah. It will look consistently similar, except just a heading. Like in this case, it says news. I can call it FAQ or something. Yes, sir.
Are you pulling any metadata from the pages? When you were showing the pages there, you could add other columns, but I'm curious if you'd be able to define a column there that specifies the
100%. Yes, you could. So one of the things you could do. So let's say, let me quickly create a new column called actually choice. Call this new products, training, whatnot, and then I can tag this guy. Let me pick one. So I'm going to go to the properties of this page and then pick a category, products, save, right? So for example, that. And then I could just say, I can create a view. Here, we go to the view by
Probably do it in line on all pages.
what's that?
You do it in line on all pages too.
Yeah, you could do that too. And then you can grab the link and then assign it to a tile, and then when people click on it, only that stuff shows up. Yeah. All right, so last step, in the remaining time, right? So we walk through, 4 steps. What's your success criteria? What's your use case? What's the framework? What are the components? Go build it. How do you drive sustainable adoption? Friends, consistency is key. One thing we noticed from my experience when we launched GTM Central internally, everybody was, it may seem like it's a small thing, but everybody was excited because now they have one place to go to have all the latest information about our company assets. The way people work change because now they're always, they know where to go and they're always updated with our latest content. And we're able to empower and assist all of our colleagues around the world. Now, how do you ensure success, right? And this is still a ongoing learning for us, but what we found is, these 4 core activities are important. Number 1, constantly encourage feedback. What's working, what's not working, are there resources that you need? Regularly update content. Every time we have a new content, be it a document or an FAQ, we would publish it on Yammer and say, hey, check this out. Promote it to your knowledge base, and again, we use Yammer heavily so people see it. And then recruit and delegate content creation. Because the old model of having, I don't know if you still operate this way, we have a webmaster, and the webmaster is responsible for all the content. That just doesn't work anymore. So we put the experts and allow them to contribute what their responsibilities are in the content areas in our knowledge base, and that's working out really well. So 5 steps to build your FAQ knowledge base. Define success criteria, establish the framework, identify related components to Office 365, go and build it, and then drive sustainable adoption. What do you guys think? Useful?
Yes.
Awesome. So, thanks everybody for joining us. I know I'm keeping you from lunch, but a couple of things, right?